So we can start now.
Dear shareholders, it is my pleasure to welcome you all for the 114th annual general meeting of the company, which is being held through video conference in accordance with the relevant guidelines and directions issued by Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Securities and Exchange Board of India. Before we commence the formal proceedings, I would like to apprise you of certain aspects which are relevant and are required for the smooth conduct of this meeting. Number one, the facility of joining this annual general meeting through video conferencing or other audio visual means is being made available for the members on first come, first served basis. Number two, this meeting shall be administered and facilitated by the moderator. Number three, to avoid any background noise and disturbance and to ensure smooth and seamless proceedings, all the attendee shareholders by default are placed on mute. Number four, once the question and answer session start, names of the shareholders who have pre-registered themselves as speakers will be announced one by one, and such speaker shareholders would then be put on an unmute mode. Such speaker shareholders would be required to click the video on button on his or her screen. While speaking, it would be preferable for the speaker shareholders to use earphone for better voice clarity. It is advisable to minimize any noise in the background and ensure that no other device is connected to Wi-Fi during this period, and it is also advisable that during such period no other application is running on their device and their location has proper provision of light to have a good video experience. Number five, in case due to any technical or other reasons, a speaker shareholder is not able to join through video mode, then he or she may join through the audio mode. There is possibility of connectivity problem or poor bandwidth issues which cannot be ruled out at speaker's end. In such a case, we should request the next speaker shareholders to join, and once the connectivity improves or is restored, the speaker shareholders will be once again requested to participate and speak after the other pre-registered speaker shareholders has completed his or her turn to speak. In the interest of time and to afford opportunity to each of the pre-registered speaker shareholders to speak, all the speaker shareholders are being humbly requested to limit their speaking content to a maximum of 3 minutes. For any technical issues which any of the shareholders may face during the period of this meeting, they may call the helpline number, which has been provided in the notice of this annual general meeting for assistance. Live streaming of this meeting is also being webcasted on NSDL website. The company has taken all the necessary steps to enable and ensure effective participation and voting by the shareholders. On behalf of the management, I would like to now request our chairman to chair the proceedings of the annual general meeting. Chairman, sir.
A very good evening to all our dear shareholders. I am assuming that I am being heard. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Dear shareholders, I wish to inform you that I have joined this meeting through the video conference from Michigan, USA. On behalf of the board and the management, I welcome all of you and extend our sincere gratitude for attending this 114th excuse me. Just excuse me, I just lost my page. On behalf of the board and the management, I welcome all of you and extend our sincere gratitude for attending the 114th annual general meeting of your company. I hope all of you and your families have been keeping safe and are in good health. I have been advised by Mr. Agarwal, company secretary, that the requisite quorum is present to validly conduct the proceedings of this annual general meeting of the members of the company. Participation of members through video conferencing is being reckoned for the purposes of quorum as per the circular issued by MCA and Section 103 of the Companies Act 2013. I therefore now call the meeting to order. I now call upon all the participating board members to introduce themselves one by one.
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Anil Kaporkar, and I have joined this AGM from my residence in Thane through video conference. I wish to inform you that I am the chairman of Nomination and Remuneration Committee and Stakeholders Relationship Committee of the company. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rupal Vora, an independent director of the company. I'm attending this AGM from my residence in Mumbai through video conference. And I would like to inform you that I am the chairperson of the CSR committee of the company. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jayesh Dadia, independent director. I've joined this AGM from my office in Tardeo, Bombay through video conferencing. I'm the chairman of the audit committee of the Walchandnagar Industry Limited. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am GS Agrawal, and I have joined this annual general meeting from my office in Mumbai through video conference. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Chirag C. Doshi, Managing Director and CEO of the company, and I have joined this AGM from our office in Mumbai through video conference. Thank you.
Note that in addition to the key executives and senior management of the company who have joined this meeting through video conference, the statutory auditors of the company and the secretarial auditor of the company have also joined this meeting in a similar fashion. The company has received 5 letters from corporate shareholders appointing authorized representative under Section 113 of the Companies Act 2013 in respect of 15544,765 equity shares of rupees TE2 each, which constitute 33.82% of the company's paid up equity share capital. Since under such kind of format, there is no possibility of securing physical attendance of the members, therefore, in line with the applicable guidelines, there is no requirement of appointing proxies. Registers, documents, and records are required under the applicable law are available for inspection by the members. Members seeking to inspect such documents can send an email to the designated email address, that is investors@walchand.com. Members who have not voted earlier through remote e-voting can cast their vote during the course of the meeting through e-voting facility. The annual report for the financial year 22-23 has already been sent to all the shareholders whose email IDs were registered with the company. I request that the notice convening this meeting, as well as the director's report, auditor's report on the standalone audited financial statements of the company, and the secretarial audit report for the year ended March 31st, 2023, be taken as read, since there are no qualifications in these reports. I would now hand over the proceedings to the Company Secretary, Mr. Agarwal.
Thank you, sir. As per the relevant provisions of Companies Act 2013 and SEBI listing regulations, which provides for electronic voting, the company had provided the facility of remote e-voting from 6th August 2023, 9 a.m. to 8th August 2023, 5 p.m. It may please be noted that the voting rights of the members are in proportion to the number of shares held by them as on the cutoff date, which was August 2nd, 2023. The facility of voting at the meeting is also being made available to the members who are attending the AGM and who have not already cast their votes by remote e-voting. Members are requested to visit the voting page of NSDL website and cast their vote. Your board of directors have appointed Mr. B.N. Devdhar of Mrs. B.N. Devdhar and Company, practicing company secretaries, as the scrutinizer to scrutinize the voting process. Since the annual general meeting is being held through video conference or other audio-visual means, and the resolutions mentioned in the notice convening this annual general meeting have already been put to vote through e-voting. Therefore, there will be no proposing or seconding with respect to the proposed resolution at this meeting. I will now request the chairman to take over and proceed with rest of the proceedings. Thank you.
I will now proceed with the agenda in accordance with the notice of this AGM. The ordinary business items are listed as agenda items number 1 and 2 of the notice, which are as follows. Number 1, to receive, consider the financial statements of the company. And the second is to appoint a director in place of myself, who retires by rotation at this annual general meeting, and being eligible offers himself for reappointment. The special business item is listed as agenda item number 3 of the notice, which is to approve ratification of remuneration payable to the cost auditors for conducting cost audit of the company for the year ended March 31, 2024. I'll now request the moderator to call out the names of the members, one after the other, who have pre-registered themselves for seeking clarifications and for purposes of offering their valuable comments and suggestions.
Smita Bharat Shah to come and ask. Ma'am, are you able to hear us?
Nidhi, your voice is very soft.
हेलो
Shah?
हाँ सर आवाज आ रही है मेरी
Yes, ma'am.
मैडम आवाज आ रही है मेरी
Yes.
ओके ओके हाँ जी थैंक यू सर थैंक यू माननीय चेयरमैन सर श्री चकोर जी एमडी श्री चिराग जी और अन्य मान्यवर डायरेक्टर सर मैं स्मिता शाह बात करती हूँ आप सभी को मेरा सादर प्रणाम प्रथम तो मैं न्यू अपॉइंटमेंट डायरेक्टर श्री जयेश जी डेडिया जी का और श्री जीएस अग्रवाल जी का मैं बधाई देते हुए बोर्ड पर उनका एज ए डायरेक्टर हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ और मैं जीएस अग्रवाल जी को कंपनी सेक्रेटरी पद पर भी अपना बहुत बढ़िया गुड इन्वेस्टर सर्विस में ऑलवेज सालों से बहुत ही पर्टिकुलर और जिम्मेदारी पूर्वक शेयर होल्डर को सर्विस अच्छी दे रहे हैं सो मैं श्री अग्रवाल जी और उनकी टीम से संजय जी राजू जी निधि और पूरी सेक्रेटरी टीम को मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और अभिनंदन वेरी वेरी गुड इन्वेस्टर सर्विस एंड फुल सपोर्ट जो आज हम आपसे वीसी थ्रू बात करने का जो मौका दिया है और सर आज हमारी 114th एजीएम की आपको तो मैं सैल्यूट जरूर करूंगी कि आज हो चाहे कितने धूप छाओ, अंधेरा उजाला देखा, चढ़ा उतार देखे, लेकिन आप कभी ना तो डगमगाए ना तो हिम्मत हारे। आपकी तो मैं सराहना करूं उतनी कम है। आपकी और चिराग जी, पूरी बोर्ड टीम ऑलवेज हमेशा बहुत मेहनत और हार्ड वर्क से आपने कंपनी को संभाल कर आगे बढ़ाने की कोशिश की है सर। तो सर बहुत बहुत मैं अभिनंदन देना चाहूंगी। और सर बस हमारा तो पूरा सालों से विश्वास रहा है कि आज नहीं न कल आप जरूर डिविडेंड बहुत अच्छा दे पाओगे, और हमारी शुभकामना ऑलवेज आपके साथ रही है। तो बस आप हरदम रहे फिट और हमेशा रहे सुपर हिट। बस आप आगे आगे बढ़ते रहे, हम हमारे आपके साथ है। और आज के सभी रिजोल्यूशन में मेरा फुल्ली सपोर्ट है सर। और सर मेरी एक रिक्वेस्ट है, हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है कि सर नेक्स्ट ईयर से अपनी एजीएम फिजिकल रखेंगे। तो हम जो 4 साल से हम आपको फिजिकली नहीं मिल पाए हैं, तो जरूर नेक्स्ट ईयर हम फिजिकल में मिल पाएंगे, आपके रूबरू दर्शन भी मिल सकेंगे, तो हमें और भी खुशी होगी। तो सर मेरी हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है कि नेक्स्ट ईयर एजीएम में आप फिजिकल में रहेंगे, हम और आप साथ साथ। बस आप सदा रहे गुड हेल्थ वेल के साथ सर। बाकी आने वाले सभी त्योहारों की मैं शुभकामना करते हुए मैं धन्यवाद करती हूँ। और सर चालू रखिए, भरत साहब बात करते हैं। थैंक यू सर, सर चालू रखिए।
माननीय चेयरमैन श्री आवाज आ रहा है ना?
हाँ
हेलो।
सर, आ रहा है।
माननीय चेयरमैन श्री चकोर भाई और अन्य माननीय डायरेक्टर सर, मेरा नाम भरत का सर, ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लूंगा, लेकिन आप जो नीचे बहुत व्यवस्थित कंपनी चला रहे हो, तो सर मैं आपको धन्यवाद देता हूँ और भगवान अपनी कंपनी को बहुत आगे बढ़ाए, मैं भगवान ईश्वर को प्रार्थना करता हूँ सर। और अपने कंपनी सेक्रेटरी अग्रवाल जी और उनकी पूरी टीम को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ। बहुत सीएस टीम का काम एकदम बेस्ट यूनिवर्सल सर्विस देने को बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ सर। और बस सारे रिजोल्यूशन में मेरा पूरा सपोर्ट है सर। थैंक यू वेरी मच। जय हिंद, जय जिनेन्द्र। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Anil Mehta to come and ask his questions. Mr. Yusuf Rangwala.
चेयरमैन सर, आपको आवाज आ रहा है? हेलो।
Yes, sir, आ रहा है आपका आवाज।
गुड आफ्टरनून सर। सर फर्स्ट तो मैं अपना कंपनी शेयर डिपार्टमेंट को जितना तारीफ करूं इतना कम है सर, मेरे पास कोई शब्द नहीं है सर। आपका मेरे बैलेंस शीट देखा, बहुत अच्छा है। वेरी 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 250 पेजेस का बैलेंस शीट। एज आई नो वी आर गेट अ गुड ऑर्डर फ्रॉम द डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट से। सर मैं जानना चाहता हूँ अपने पास कितना और नया ऑर्डर आया है और ऑर्डर कब तक कंप्लीट करने का? आई केम टू फ्रॉम द मार्केट, वी आर हैविंग अ गुड ऑर्डर। दैट इज our share over 90 today is spotting around 150 jump up, and the people are buying. Mostly they are foreign institutions, Indian people, LIC, all these people are buying. At present, LIC is the main buyer of our company, because you mentioned an excellent report, sir, as you mentioned in the chairman speech. And this is a Walchan group. Our chairman Chokshi, sir, who is one of the dynamic and excellent company, sir. Excellent chairman. It does not require anything. एक उनके लिए शेयर पेश करना चाहता हूँ सर। फूलों की खुशबू, कलियों की बहार, आने वाले सब त्योहारों का मैं फुल आपको सपोर्ट देता हूँ। और सर मैं क्या कहना सर इस कंपनी के बारे में, सर बहुत साल हुआ, 6-7 साल पहले आपने विजिट कराया था वालचंद का। अगर आप वापस विजिट चालू करो तो दिस इज माय हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट सर, नेक्स्ट ईयर फिजिकल मीट के लिए मैं आशा रखता हूँ सर। नेक्स्ट ईयर फिजिकल मीट। और सर अपना जानना चाहता हूँ टोटल नंबर ऑफ स्टाफ कितना है? लास्ट आपने डिविडेंड दिया कि नहीं दिया सर, मुझे मालूम नहीं है। डिक्लेयर डिविडेंड सर, क्योंकि मेरे पास एनुअल रिपोर्ट नहीं आया। सर मैं आपको हाथ जोड़ के विनती करता हूँ, जरा एनुअल रिपोर्ट भेजिए सर। पूरा ग्रुप का मैं शेयर होल्डर हूँ सर, पूरा ग्रुप का कंपनी का वालचंद सर। वे नहीं रावल गम शुगर सर, मैं जानना चाहता हूँ रावल गम की मीटिंग कभी है? वो अपना ग्रुप कंपनी है, फिजिकल है, दैट इज वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस। आई वुड लाइक टू नो सर, नथिंग मोर टू ऐड सर। यहाँ से मैं अपना अर्न करना चाहता हूँ। कलियों की बाहर आने वाले सब कलियों की बाहर और सब रिजोल्यूशन में मेरा फुल सपोर्ट है सर। मैंने वोटेड दिया है, फुल फ्लेवर है सर मेरा। नथिंग मोर टू ऐड sir. I am very thankful to our excellent company sales department, who is a very excellent and hard working company sales department sir. I am very thankful, and may God bless our company sir. Next year when we meet, that will be a physical meet sir. This is my humble request to you sir. And अपना link people level agent They are also doing very good people services, sir. Sir, why you not invited the link people for today meeting, sir? I would like to know. Because legal agent, sir, because why not given the link people, sir? This I would like to know. TDSL का आपने जो आपने किया है उसके लिए सर मुझे कोई नाराजगी नहीं है और आपका लिंक पीपल की भी सर्विस सर बहुत अच्छी है सर. थैंक यू वेरी मच. हुडा ऑफिस, मे गॉड ब्लेस आवर कंपनी. थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. जय हिंद सर. जय हिंद सर.
Mr. Vinod Agarwal.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, respected Chairman Chakor Doshi, MD and CEO Chirag Doshi, Company Secretary GS Agarwal, and CFO Sandeep Jain. Good afternoon and regards to everyone, sir. I voted for all the three resolutions sought to be passed in today's meeting. I received the link to join today's meeting well in time, and this is the 114th AGM. So, the only worry is that even though we are showing profit this year of 10 crores plus, it is more of an adjustment, sir, because it is the waiver of the loans taken from KKR, which have been written off of 105 crores. So that has helped the company to turn into profit. But otherwise, even the operational PBT was at a loss of 85 crores. How do we turn around such large losses into profits is my concern. And the exports were 14 crores. The doubtful, another thing which I go into the other expenses side, the doubtful debt written off are 34 crores. Who was this defaulter was not paid us such a large amount, sir? I'd like to know. 34 crores to write off is a very, very big amount for a company of our size, sir. And I'm very pleased with the order that we have received of 250 crores in the nuclear power plant equipment business, and even the work that we've done for the aerospace industry, GSLV. I'm very proud of our company, sir. And it's a very old company. I wish the company all the best. I hope the earlier troubles are over of the company and the company comes into profit, genuine profits, and not the write-off kind of profits with operational profits. I wish the company all the best, sir. And signing off, Vinod Agarwal from Mumbai.
Thank you.
Miss Surekha Shah. Mr. Sharad Kumar Shah. Mr. Anil Parekh. Mr. Hardik Jain. Mr. Vimal Agarwal. Mr. Saurabh Jain.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, Saurabh, go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. I had few questions just to understand the business. Sir, so you have given our order book information, which has grown quite well last year. So order book is close to 900 odd crore. So if you can talk about what is the timeline to execute the same, and if you can talk about what is the margin we expect from this 900 crore order book. And if you can split it into, we are there in 5-6 sub segments, including missiles, including nuclear, including space, defense, and gearbox and crushing and grinding business. So if you can split the order book, that would be helpful. My next question is, in the annual report, you have talked about that we have added four more platforms in the missiles system, and now we have total 10 uh, such platforms. So first of all, if you can talk about what we actually do, which part do we make for different missiles, like Astra you have mentioned, and in our old annual reports you used to talk about Akash. So what do we actually do? And I believe we also do missile launcher. So typically, what is the cost of a launcher in the whole missile, and how big is that opportunity? And what is our market share currently in this? If you can talk about the same. My next question is, you used to talk about split between manufacturing and EPC business. So what is it currently, if you can talk about the same? Next question is, sir, we keep talking about in centrifugal machines, we have the highest market share in the domestic market. So if you can talk about what is our market share and what is the market size, and how is this market growing? And I believe this used to contribute around 10% of our sales. So is it around same number? So if you can talk about the same. My next question is, last 1-2 years, maybe we have entered newer segments like process equipment and railways. So if you can talk about what is the status there, what kind of order book do we have there, what kind of products do we make there? It was My next question is, it was good to hear our part in the Chandrayaan, and I believe we are also participating in Gaganyaan. So if you can talk about what is our contribution to such projects. My next question is, sir, if you look at our company over the last 10 years, our order book has remained at that 900 to 1000 crore levels, plus minus something. So if you can talk about when can we cross this barrier of 1000 crore and maybe reach 1500 to 2000 crore kind of order book, and if you can talk about why it hasn't happened till yet and what will change going forward. On our gross margin, sir, it is one of the most healthiest in the industry at 60% plus. But our EBITDA, if I see over the last 10 years, only 2 years we have done like 18-20% EBITDA. So with 60% gross margin, don't you think our EBITDA should be much more consistent and maybe around 15-20%? So why it hasn't been the case, if you can talk about the same. My final question is on the nuclear side. So you have talked about we are into a couple of products like reactor head, calendria, end shields, heat exchangers, and I think we did something related to sodium piping work also. So normally, what is the value addition we do per megawatt capacity or gigawatt capacity? If you can talk about the same, and who are our competitors in this? And given the India's impetus towards nuclear energy, so can we get a good chunk of growth from nuclear going forward, because it is again stuck in that 250 crore kind of range. So it will be very helpful if you can answer each and every question in detail. Thank you.
Uh, Agarwal, are we following the format of answering now or at the end?
No, at the end, sir.
No, no.
Let us first complete all the questions, then we can go ahead
Okay.
for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Nidhi, next name.
Mr. Manan Patel.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Sir, this is my first AGM, so forgive me if I ask some basic questions. So first of all, I would like to understand, like given the prowess that we have in engineering and very well-renowned name, it has not commensurately translated into performance. So if you could just give me a help me understand the history of the company over last 15-20 years, where in initial part of those years we were doing very well, and then balance sheet issues cropped up, and then we were not able to do well. So what happened during this time, and what has changed now, how we have implemented learnings over that phase? So if you could help me understand, that would be very helpful. Second part of the questions are on the first of all on the order book. So in annual report we mentioned that our focus is on increasing the order book. So the one thing I wanted to understand is our entire sector, strategic and industrial business, both are going through very good tailwind. So how do we capitalize on that, and do we have enough capacity to sort of scale up, take a leap to the next orbit in our business in terms of order book and execution? Uh, and then, sir, as a previous participant also asked, like we have already qualified for four missiles, and 10 more are in works. So how does this translate to order book, top line, and bottom line over coming 5 years? And sir, in general, I would like to also understand the business visibility over next 3 to 5 years, because I understand a lot of these contracts are long-term contracts and it takes time to execute, deliver, and develop projects. So if you could help me understand our business visibility over next 3 to 5 years, that would be helpful. Sir, then the questions are like with the current capacity that we have both in heavy engineering and foundry, what kind of revenues can be done and what is the current utilization in both the businesses? And once we reach optimum levels, what kind of margins can we make in heavy engineering as well as foundry business? Sir, also, given the long-term nature of contracts, do we have the ability or do we have provisions in our contracts to pass on fluctuations in raw material prices, like the fluctuations we saw over last 2-3 years? So metal prices can be very volatile and they can impact our margins. So do we have these provisions to pass on the prices? Uh, then on the financials, like balance sheet, we had some balance sheet issues, and can we say that these balance sheet issues, especially after dilution to Acker, are these balance sheet issues firmly behind us, and do we see any further equity dilutions to resolve these issues? Then we have a strong order book. So what kind of working capital requirements do we envisage from the current order book? When we execute this order book, what kind of working capital will we require, and do we have funding tied up for the same? And sir, we have 109 crores of receivables which are greater than 3 years. So do you expect any write-offs? Like this year we had around 34-35 crores of write-off. So do you expect any further write-off from these receivables which are long-tailed? So sir, these are my questions. It would be very helpful if you can answer these questions in detail. Like this is my first AGM, so it would be very helpful to understand your business. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Ms. Jyoti Bafna.
Yeah, sir, my question pertains to the first question is regarding, I think the last participants have already asked whatever I have mailed it to you, but couple of them which are, just adding on that. One is we have not done any significant capex in last 3-4 years. So, what sort of capex program or the modernization program is required, to carry out this new age development of all the whether it is nuclear programs or new missile programs or defense programs. So what sort of capex you are envisaging, in couple of this year or maybe next financial year to upgrade our machineries and our plant so that we can accommodate the requirements of new age defense systems. So that's question number one. The second question is that our balance sheet is still has got close to 300 crore kind of debt, and to augment the business, definitely this is a high working capital intensive business. So we need a lot of working capital to execute these projects. So you need, it looks like you need further funding, to go to the next level. And just to give a suggestion, sir, we have seen a couple of recent developments, like we have seen the companies in the entire railway space, which you might have heard, whether it is Titagarh or it is Texmaco or it is Jupiter Wagons, or for that matter in defense, a lot of small companies, PTC Industries, they have not raised any fund, before the market cap has reached to, let's say, 3 to even 8,000 crore without having a single penny of profit. These companies have, raised the money at a significant size of market capitalization so that they have got some sizable funds so that the business can go to the next level. So we have recently heard there was one report which has been publicized by Pink where it was quoted that we are going to raise some odd 25% sort of dilution and raise the funds at 80 rupees. This is what something that we came across in WhatsApp. So, sir, diluting at these levels, will not give us even 100 crores, and we need significant capital to ramp up. We have got a lot of inherent value, in our company. If I try to compare this company with the other existing companies in the defense, which have come up, in last 1 year, we have never heard those names. You are existing for last 40-50 years. and the kind of approvals that you are having and the kind of non-core assets, the land bank that you are having, if you can give us some guidance that what sort of monetization plan for that land bank which can help us to either reduce debt or to augment our working capital requirement will be helpful. So my humble request is that don't dilute at this 3, 4, 500 crore market capitalization. This will not serve our purpose. We are already at 35% promoter holding. So if we dilute at these levels, we'll go anyway. We are a sort of less than 51%. So it will further create a lot of problems, and we are a easy takeover target by some large players in this industry, since we are holding only 35%. So if anybody manages to acquire 25, 26% and gives an open offer, we are a clear, easy takeover target. So my humble request, if you could guide us your plans to increase the shareholding also. I know, we don't have any understanding about your personal capacity, finances and all, but this is a humble request as a shareholder that we should think about that direction also. And lastly, what is the repayment plan, for the acre debt, which is still 37 crores, where we said we'll pay it by, monetizing the land bank or the other non-core assets. So any guidance on that, and the fundraising plan, if you have anything, and what sort of your thought process in that direction for us will be really helpful. So that's broadly from my side, sir. Suggestions and the questions are included. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you to all our speaker shareholders.
Sir, now the speaker shareholders list is over. So now I request the chairman, sir, to respond the questions raised by the shareholders and suggestions and guidance, and then Chirag sir can take over.
Okay, thank you, fellow shareholders, for your expressed interest and specifics that you have asked information about. In general, I will deal with general issues and then request our MD CEO to supply information wherever possible on the specifics. The one broad point that needs to be understood is that the order book consists of a mix of activities. And the question that seems to be coming to people's mind is how long does it take to exhaust execution? I think it needs to be understood that different orders have different time zones. I mean, there are orders that will have to be executed in a few months, and some of them may carry on into 2-3 years. So to make a simplistic statement of how long will 900 last is a bit unrealistic. It's always been this position, and continues to be. What is important is to try and increase the order book, and that will make the performance more robust. Other than that, in general, a lot of efforts are being made financially with the gain of the write-off will reflect in numbers in the year to come and subsequently. And it is observed that the financial strength is getting stronger. With these general comments, I will now ask Mr. Chirag Doshi, to MD CEO, to answer some of the specifics.
Thank you. So let me just, in fact, do an overview, because some of the questions that Saurabh ji and Manan asked are require specific numbers which we won't disclose because we don't do any future guidance, and some of those numbers cannot just be talked in a environment. But let me give a sort of a brief. I think many of you are not aware of the business per se. So largely what is important to note is that, so there was a question on EPC and manufacturing. First of all, Walchandnagar's not in any EPC business anymore. There was a question on history. Part of the history of Walchandnagar's last 5, 6, 7 years of struggle was the fact that we got into EPC business, and during a time when a lot of people got burnt because of cash flow issues, and it was those EPC businesses and EPC projects that really sort of hurt the company. Largely, our business is divided into two main verticals. We have what we call our strategic business vertical, and then we have our industrial products vertical. The strategic business vertical is really all the work that we do with ISRO for aerospace defense, which includes the missile programs that Saurabh talked about, and launchers and gearboxes, and recently the nuclear orders that we have got. These orders, by and large, usually take anywhere between 18 to 36 months to execute. And that constitutes today about half of the order book that we currently have. So let's say about 400 to 450 crores of that 900 plus crore order book is strategic and will be executed over the next 3 years, 3.5 years. And then the industrial products business, which constitutes centrifugals and things like that, which also someone talked about. I'll give you some numbers. That execution ranges anywhere between 3 months to 18 months. And so the remaining 300 and 400 odd crores of order book will get executed partly this year and partly next year. And some new orders will be booked in the next, let's say, 6 months to cater to 24, 25. So that's by and large how the business is broken up. Somebody asked about margins. Of course, the company has been going through fairly difficult times over the last 4, 5 years, and therefore our margins have been a little subdued. There is obviously a desire, and we are quite confident that over the next 3, 4 years, the EBITDA margins on the business will rise. As you have, someone correctly mentioned that our gross margins are 60, 65%, but then we kind of come negative at the low positive at the EBITDA level, largely because we have a large component of fixed cost, which is manpower cost and electricity and things like that. And really, this organization is manned to be closer to 450, 500 crores. Through COVID and all, we were quite good in not letting go of people, of supporting our workforce, of supporting our people. And I think that will now play out over the next few years. Once this restructuring and the refinancing of the debt had to get done, and which is now complete. As far as debt is concerned, there is now 37 odd crores long-term debt on the books. That debt will be repaid in the next 2 years, which is what we have to repay that debt. Maybe even faster, but outer limit is March 2025. And that debt will get repaid only through sale of non-core assets, which are some portion of the land that we own in Walchandnagar or in that region, and other plots of land. So we will not be using any operating cash flow to repay long-term debt. And all the operating cash flow that the business is now starting to generate will get used and reinvested into the business for ensuring adequacy of working capital so that the business continuously grows on a month-on-month, quarter-on-quarter basis, and ensures that our sort of execution goes up, and therefore order booking goes up. So sort of as a summary, that's really the essence of the business. There were some questions on capacity. As far as the heavy engineering business is concerned, in its current state, we expect that the heavy engineering business should be able to generate anywhere in the region of 350-ish to 400 crores without the need to invest large fixed asset. We do want to grow much more than that. There are many opportunities in all the aerospace business, the 10 missile programs that we talked about, most except for Akash, which is an established missile in the armed forces now. The remaining 8 or 9 are all in developmental mode, and over the next 3-4 years are expected to go into mass production. And so in order to cater to that, we will ultimately in the next 2-3 years have to do a round of capital expenditure to upgrade and enhance our facilities. That process of raising that money to do that capex is something that is ongoing. How it will happen, whether through debt, whether through equity, whether through a combination, or through even generation of operating cash flow, is something that the board will brainstorm on over the next few quarters, and then we will take a call. But yes, in order to scale, and really now that the turnaround is nearly complete, I wouldn't say it's fully complete. I think we have another year of further cost management to do, but nearly complete. I think over the next 12 months, we will take the necessary decisions to make sure that the company is now appropriately capitalized to take advantage of the tailwinds that someone talked about, because there truly are good tailwinds in a lot of our strategic and non-strategic sectors. Somebody asked about foundry. Our foundry is working at maybe about 60-65% capacity today. We do about 500 tons of castings a month. We know that foundry in its current capability can do about 700 tons a month. And so we will be scaling that up in the next 2 years, and then look at a round of capex in the foundry independently. Raw material fluctuations last year, part of the losses that you see on the books, operating loss, which is true, we did still make an operating loss last year, but the operating loss is looking larger than it was because of many one-time provisions and write-offs that we had taken last year. Also, raw material rising. In many of our orders, we don't get the luxury of passing that on to the customer. In some of our orders, which are more long-term, we do have what's called a price variation clause, which helps in overcoming the fluctuations that happen in raw material. But largely last year, there was a small hit which impacted in the books. I think someone asked, and finally, I'll just end because I think I've covered most questions. And if there are things that I haven't covered, please send me emails and we can write back later. But I think the biggest question that was asked was, what are the learnings and improvements of over the last 10 years? And I think the number one learning for us was we need to stick to what is our DNA as an organization. It is heavy engineering. It is heavy fabrication. It is the ability to do manufacturing of large scale products that not many companies in this country can do. And so we are going to focus our efforts only on that. And therefore, we may not see the large top line increases that you see because of civil construction and EPC and all of that. But we've realized and we've learned from our mistakes that we will not be entering those areas now or in the near future. And we stick to what we know, which is DNA, defense, nuclear, aerospace, and focus on the Atmanirbhar Bharat opportunities. And that is where the company is going to really spend all its time and energy over the next 4-5 years. Somebody asked a question, I think in the balance sheet, we had talked about new areas like hydrogen. So, process equipment is something we've done all our lives. Cement, sugar, we're now doing for steel, we're doing for fertilizers, many crushing equipment, mills, and things like that. Hydrogen is a play which is new. We don't know what kind of equipment we will be manufacturing, but there is much discussion happening with potential customers to be able to offer them some heavy fabrication solutions that allow them to store and generate hydrogen for their respective plants. It'll just be like another product that we offer as a solution to our existing existing industries. So more will come once we are clearer, but it is definitely an area of peak interest for us going forward. So that's a summary. I think things are looking good, but I think one more year of consolidation and a little bit of settling, and then we can sort of take a decision on how we really scale this up. As far as equity dilution and debt and all is concerned, I think everything is very premature. As the board comes up with their own thoughts on it, I think announcements will be made appropriately. If I haven't again covered anything that is specific, please do email and I can write back specifically on any particular questions that anyone would have. So thank you.
Now I request Chairman Sir to take over the proceedings of the meeting.
What did you say?
Now you can proceed further, sir. The
Yes.
last part of the annual general meeting.
Okay. So please note that the e-voting facility will remain open for the next 15 minutes to enable those members who have not yet cast their vote and would like to cast their vote now. I now authorize the company secretary to conduct the voting procedure and thereafter to declare the result of the voting in accordance with the prescribed procedure. Please note that the result of the voting along with the scrutinizer's report will be intimated to the stock exchanges and will also be uploaded on the website of the company. That is www.walchan.com, and website of NSDL, that is www.evoting.nsdl.com, within 48 hours of the conclusion of the AGM. The business of this annual general meeting having been completed, I now announce that this meeting stands concluded. I now heartily thank all the esteemed shareholders for their active participation and for making valuable suggestions and supporting the company's activities. I take this opportunity to wish all of you and your respective families best of health. Thank you.
Thank you, shareholders, and thank you, Chairman Sir. Now the meeting is concluded, so we can exit from the annual general meeting.